movie time with John DeSando and his friends online. So everything is gonna be just fine. From the top down to the bottom. He's gonna let you know if you should stay home or if you should go. Might even yell if it's a spectacle. From San Francisco to Long Island. 'Cause nothing's better than a motion video.
It finally buried Minecraft. Thank God. I just don't get that Minecraft. It's Movie Time. It's produced and hosted by John DeSando. Listen to broadcast shows Fridays at 4:01 and 8:01 p.m. Read reviews and listen to shows online at WCBE.org.
I'm John DeSando,
And I'm K G Kline.
and this is It's Movie Time. You know, I rely on my top critic co-hosts for advice now and then, and you're running pretty strong, I'll tell you, on your recommendations.
Well, I try.
Right. And so you recommended that I see Sinners,
I did.
and I'll tell you, it was on my agenda, but I moved that up once I got the recommendation from you. So what drew you to this? Is Ryan Coogler's Sinners.
Well, John, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that I think Sinners is the first movie this year, that I've seen anyway, that has a good chance at a Best Picture nomination.
Okay.
This movie really is a standout. It's my favorite movie now so far this year.
Okay.
Really, really well made. Now, this movie is a vampire movie. It's a horror film.
You know, I know it, yes.
But it's so much more than that.
Yes,
and
it is.
In the reality of it, it's not a horror film until you're an hour into the movie. The first hour is a classic movie about 1932 Deep South. We're talking about the cotton plantations, and we're talking about the Jim Crow laws, the KKK. You've got these two brothers who grew up in this little town in the Deep South.
Played by Michael B.
Both
Jordan.
played by Michael B. Jordan, and played as two very distinctly different people by Michael B. Jordan. This is not two different costumes, this is two different characters.
It would be fun to compare this with De Niro's recent turn as two characters.
As two characters,
Yeah.
yeah. I would give this the edge, I think. I don't know
And
about
I
you.
agree. No, I agree with you. I don't think they differentiated enough with De Niro's role. I think
And Jordan may have a fighting chance at the Best Actor nomination.
Boy, he should be.
We're early in the season, which always hurts a movie's chances, but I think this movie is going to stay. I
Yeah.
think it's going to stand out. It's been the #1 film in box offices for 2 weeks in a row. It finally kicked Minecraft out of that position, and it is well deserving. And I love this first hour is really about these two brothers who moved up to Chicago, got involved with the mafia up in
Well,
Chicago.
they brought their money back from Al Capone. I
And
wonder how he thought about that.
yeah, they steal money from Al Capone, come back and decide they're going to go back to this little town where they know everybody and open a juke joint, basically
Mississippi, right?
in Mississippi.
Yeah.
And basically they're violating prohibition, and they're going to operate an illegal alcohol establishment with live music. And they know all the local talent, so they know exactly where to go to. And as the movie opens, they've arrived in town, and they're coming out and flashing their money around and finding all the best people. And one of those people is a young boy named Sammy, who is
Their cousin.
their
Their
cousin,
distant cousin,
who
yeah.
has an amazing voice and is a tremendous guitar player already at such a young age.
Yeah.
And he is the bright rising star.
Right, and he's bringing the blues.
He's bringing the blues, he's going to perform, and the moment they hear him sing, their jaws just drop because they know they've discovered
Well,
talent.
you remind me that this is in part about the nouveau riche, and they are nouveau riche.
Oh,
and,
yes.
And the fact that they're black and they're emerging is so interesting. It's such an intricate web here of the future.
This is great black cinema.
Yeah.
They're really at its highest level. They're almost the entire cast, almost, is black.
Yes.
I want to make a point of even saying Mary, who's the love interest of one
That's
of the
right.
brothers, is not white. People are commenting that she's white. No, she's not. She's half,
That's right, yeah.
half and half.
This is Haley Steinfeld.
Haley Steinfeld,
Yeah.
who is a white actress,
That's right.
but she is portraying a person who I believe her father was black and her mother was white.
Gosh, it seems like just a short time ago when she was, her first role that I recognized her with, perhaps with True Grit or something like that. He was,
Mhm.
yeah, there was
Yeah.
Haley as a young woman.
As a young woman, yeah.
And here she is as a full-blown woman, And boy, the women they have.
The women in this movie
very
are powerful. This is a good movie to take a date to because the women are empowered in
Yes,
this movie. Your
yes,
date
right.
will enjoy it. But now, 1 hour in, what happens, John?
What happens is that I go, I don't know whether I really buy into this vampire business. I don't know.
I've wondered about that.
And the way you described it was very similar to my reaction when I tell everybody that first part about black culture is just super. And then the second part, I kind of go, well, okay, you know. And I think you pointed out to me, and I agreed with you, that the white vampires here are particularly scurrilous. And that represents such an interesting contrast, don't you think?
What I'm going to say here is I don't think this is a vampire movie.
Yeah.
And your jaw is
No,
open.
no,
You're
no,
looking
no,
at
no,
it. This is not a vampire.
That's what
This
I
is an
want.
allegory.
I want this to be,
Yeah.
which is
This movie is an allegory, and this director is known for his allegories. I mean, if we go back to his last film, Wakanda Forever, Black Panther 2,
Yeah.
that was really symbolic of the rise of black culture.
All right, let's talk about that in
Yeah,
our podcast.
in our podcast, we'll talk about
Yeah,
that. But this movie also, he loves doing allegory, and what he is doing, these vampires are the allegory for the music industry. They symbolize the way that the music industry seeks out young talent and then just sucks them dry and then throws them out. The vampires here are drawn, they're called song catchers, from what the press material is saying. They hear the music is so powerful that it rips the boundaries between our world and theirs, and they follow the music and are drawn into it. But when they arrive, what do they want to do? They want to assimilate the music into their music and then distribute it.
Right, duh.
Yeah. So who are they? They're the recording industry.
Well, you know, just as a side note, this Cougar begins to remind me to be more of a ramped up Jordan Peele.
Okay, yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
In particular, as you're talking about the allegorical aspects, I thought Peele does a really good job. He's less heavy-handed.
Yeah, Peele can be a little vague. He can be a little
Yes.
out there. I mean, Nope was an interesting, although very strange movie.
Yes, yeah.
But he manages to avoid all the weirdness of Peele.
He does.
There's never a moment in this movie where you don't really know what's going on. This movie is very well paced, very well explained. The acting is phenomenal. When the action finally starts happening, it is terrific. The battles with the vampires are great. If I have any fault with this movie, John,
All
it's
right.
that it doesn't know where to end.
Oh, okay. No, tell me why you say that.
And this is a movie where you have to stay through the credits, folks. Do not leave until the last moment, because there's 3 Easter eggs, and 3, more than Marvel gives you, 3 points where the credits break to introduce more movie, including one that goes forward 50 years into the future, where we get to see when Sammy as an elderly man, played by the Buddy Guy, the great Buddy Guy.
Okay, all right.
And unless you stay through the credits, you won't see that segment, and that thing is probably 15 minutes long.
You know, it strikes me that somebody's going to want to know why they should come to see this film. It sounds, as opposed to Jordan Peele, it sounds a little heavy to me.
It's dark,
Yeah.
it's violent, it is heavy. If you want to see a beautifully done film about black culture, this is a great choice. If you're a vampire movie fan, vampire movies tend to be very, tired. They've been played out. There's nothing new. Well, it brings something new into the vampire mix. This is a refreshing film. I sat there thinking, wow, this is the first vampire film I've seen in a long time that really has something fresh and new to say.
And what is that?
And that is that the idea that the vampires are preying on musicians and are drawing their music in and then sending it out again to the other vampires, and the allegory that represents. I think that's there's Stephen King elements in this movie. There's From Dusk Till Dawn comes to mind. Queen of the Damned comes to mind. But the way in which these characters get holed up in this juke joint, used to be an old butcher factory, the way that they're trapped in there and the way the siege plays out It is just very well paced, very well done, and again, I think this is the first movie I've seen this year that might have a good chance at a Best Picture Oscar.
Well, for those who want to see a vampire movie, what's the deal for them? I mean,
Oh,
you're
You've
sounding,
got 2,000 movies to choose from.
well, you're making me think that it may be a little bit too vague. That is, well, your description, the allegorical description about the music industry, I think is spot on, just perfect. But there are many people in the audience, or people going to see this, that want to see a vampire.
They want to see a real vampire
Yeah.
movie? Okay, if you want to see a real vampire movie, From Dusk Till Dawn, great vampire movie. Classic 70s vampire movies, the ones with Peter Cushing, Christopher Lee, the Hammer movies, they're terrific. And then let's not forget, let's go all the way back to the 1932 Dracula, and then Nosferatu, the original silent,
Right.
and the Klaus Kinski Nosferatu from the 70s, which is also a terrific vampire
Now,
movie.
can you include in this films that you have worked on that are about the living dead?
No, because those are zombie movies.
Yeah,
And
they're
George
zombie.
Romero would turn over in his grave if I ever called them vampire movies.
Uh-huh.
Zombies are zombies and vampires are vampires, and the two do not meet. However, Stephen King has done some great work in the vampire genre, especially Salem's Lot. And the made-for-TV movie version of that with David Soul is still one of King's best movie adaptations.
All right. K G Kline. We know that people can look forward to our podcast, which is Back Talk, and it's supported by It's Movie Time, of course. So tell me, what's your advice?
Oh, this is a movie that's a must-see. If you're over 18 and you can handle a lot of blood and violence, this is a movie to go see. It is terrific.